Euro Truck Simulator 2 is a game that I purchased on a whim. Its Steam stats stated that it had an upwards of almost 30,000 players at the time of my purchase. Even now, its player base sits at a healthy 20,000 players. Seeing as the game was really popular, I thought I'd give it a try. And for a while, I couldn't figure out for the life of me why so many people play this game. It seems so boring to just drive trucks lugging cargo around all day and just going from point A to point B with little to no obstacles in the way. As someone who spent the majority of their time playing games like Counter-Strike or Payday 2, I just couldn't understand the appeal of something so simple and mundane. But after spending some time playing this game and one day realizing that I can play this game and open Spotify in the background, it hit me. The game's strength is the simple and mundane gameplay. It's just that the simplicity is more complex than what I had initially thought. The premise of the game is simple. You're a truck driver, obviously, and you're completing these jobs which require you to transport various types of cargo from point A to point B. Cargo can be anything from produce like fish or canned meat, to something more substantial like a locomotive or a boat. Different types of cargo have different properties that affect the handling of your truck. For example, something like a large industrial condensator will decrease your acceleration potential compared to something lighter like a shipment of medical equipment. To aid you in your journey, you can select from an array of trucks, from brands like Renault or Volvo. Now, I'm not a car person, let alone a truck person, so anyone who enjoys all the technicalities, this game has plenty of statistics for you to read and tinker with. I just stay away from that and just stick to the simple driving, it's good enough for me. Once you have your cargo and your truck sorted out, you can select the jobs that you want to do. These jobs can last anywhere from 5 real-life minutes to about 1 real-life hour. Eventually you can earn enough money from these jobs and start your own trucking business. I haven't gotten to that point yet, so I don't know. The cliche phrase of "it's the journey that matters, not the destination" is what I think best describes this game. Your journey isn't just road. It's mostly road, but there's also traffic lights, traffic laws, speed limits, road blockages, police cars, and other dumbass NPC drivers, and even sometimes you get boat. All of these things add depth to the gameplay to make it less monotonous. Hell, there's even fuel and a sleeping mechanic you have to contend with. But to me, those mechanics aren't what makes the game so enthralling for me. Along those drawn out stretches of asphalt, there's this gorgeous landscape and scenery that draws you away from your steering wheel and just lets your mind wander. Eventually your ability to drive becomes second nature and your mind is just left free to think about other things. And pair this gameplay with your favorite music or podcasts, and it really turns this game from a simple driving simulator to something akin to like a $20 therapy session that you can keep coming back to. It feels like meditation in some ways. Where meditation uses techniques like breathing and mindfulness to attain a clear and emotionally calm state, Euro Truck Simulator uses the roads and the gorgeous European landscape to attain a clear and emotionally calm state. Well, unless you encounter a dumb driver, then you might road rage, but in a virtual world. That's kinda sad, but that's okay. I do it too. What you're currently seeing on screen since the beginning was one journey where I was delivering a shipment of train axles from Bergen, Norway to Manchester, England. And in the background I was listening to an episode of Hi-Fi Nation by Slate Podcasts. By the way, great, mind-opening podcast. I wholeheartedly recommend you take a listen. And yeah, I just completely lost myself in the game. All there was just time. Just time, my truck, and my podcast. And it was so relaxing. And as someone who doesn't drive in real life, I often hear my friends talk about the joys of driving on long stretches of empty roads, singing along to Elton John, and feeling like they're just getting started. I would see friends post in their Instagram stories where they're literally sitting in traffic and just having the time of their lives, vibing out to Bohemian Rhapsody on their radio. Looking back to my experience at university pre-COVID, I have a friend who would always invite me and another friend out on a late night drive, just because why not? It was just us cruising along the road at 1 AM. Those late night drives was a way for us to relax and ease our minds from all the stress of unnecessary assignments and grueling exams. It was a weird thing for me at the time, but I would sure as hell do it again. I enjoy these types of things, those simple and peaceful moments in life, and I had similar sessions whenever my family would go on a road trip across the country. Despite the car ride being 1, 2, 3, or 4 hours long, I always wanted to go on for longer. Because I genuinely enjoy being in a long car ride and listening to some dank music or really mind-opening podcast. looking out the window and seeing cars go by as the landscape gradually transitions from a dense urban street to barren grasslands. It's a moment where I can think and reflect about my experience and ideas. And not to mention the exotic locales I travel through, like the forests or mountains. And as a kid, Slenderman was popular at the time, and whenever our family car passes through a forest, my imagination would run wild, and I would feel an eerie and haunting atmosphere, and my god do I love that feeling. It's like an escape from reality. Basically, escapism, if you will. Similar to how great ideas always come to you in the shower, my most creative and most fun ideas always sprung from these long car rides. Things like doing a YouTube channel, game development. And that's the reason why I enjoy playing Euro Truck Simulator so much. And I'm willing to bet there's a large portion of its player base that also feels the same way. How you can just launch and play this game after a long day's work and relax with a can of beer beside you just like a real trucker. For you it may be the rewarding gameplay features or the realistic simulation mechanics, but for me it's the nostalgia that brings you back to simpler times, where a childish sense of curiosity and awe just runs, and zen-like therapeutic atmosphere this game gives me is a really great way to relax at the end of the day. Thank you very much for watching. I know this is a very short video, but it's just a way for me to express my gratitude for having this game in my Steam library. And in the future, I'm planning to make longer, more analytical videos, like an essay style video. So if you enjoy this type of content, then consider subscribing and drop me a like if you enjoy the video. Thank you again, and see you next time.